Hello. Okay, so my idea. My idea is that I think young people should be more involved in co-creating content on TV. I came to that idea over a number of years. It didn't just come to me one night. So a little bit of background. When I was younger, I used to do a lot of youth theatre. When I was rehearsing this, one of my colleagues said to me, "You should tell the audience why you used to do a lot of youth theatre." I'm not technically a youth anymore, and actually I can't really remember, other than the fact that it made me really happy. It made me happy to have an outlet that I could go and express myself, that I could go and spend time with other people interested in similar things to me, and I really enjoyed it. So when I was a young person, I did youth theatre. I then went to university and did a theatre design degree. You can see that kind of trajectory still going ahead. By the end of the degree, I'd realised I was a terrible theatre designer, and that if I really wanted to work in theatre, I should probably have done a drama degree. So after that, I started working in video, and currently still work in video doing online films mainly. Kind of while I was doing that, I also did a postgraduate master's in enterprise and management for the creative arts at University of the Arts London. And my final research project, which was a big whopping 20-word thesis, looked at co-creating content with young people. The exact title was Opportunities for Engaging Young People in the Creation of Content for TV and Theatre. So I was interested in looking at both of them and looking at what they could potentially learn from each other. So now I just want to kind of take it back to young people and talk a little bit about how young people are portrayed by the media. And I want to open media out. This isn't just journalistic media. I think this is also the broadcast sector more widely. So potentially dramas, potentially reality shows. It isn't just what we read in the newspapers. But young people are commonly seen as hoodies. They're lazy. They're good for nothing. They don't contribute to society. They're pregnant often, particularly in the newspapers. Young people are binge drinking. They're polluting our towns on Saturday night, starting fights and getting in trouble. And young people are digital natives who understand technology but don't understand how to interact with anybody in the real world. Now, I've got a little bit of a problem with all of these definitions, and my main problem is that they're all so negative. None of them are positive. And because of that, I find it difficult to believe that this is actually what the majority of young people are like. There's a lot that's been researched and a lot that's been written even by the popular media about the fact that the media can't see young people in a positive light. So I don't want to talk about it too much. But I am going to talk about some of the shining lights, some of the positive young people, some of who we've heard of today, who do get some attention kind of publicly. So you've got here two contrasts. You've got young people who are cluttering up our society, who are getting in the way, who aren't contributing and who aren't positive. And you've got beacons of hope who are contributing amazing things and inspiring other people. Now, my issue is that I think there's a massive grey area that's neither the black or the white that's completely missed in the way young people are presented. And I'd argue that actually the grey area is the majority. So the majority of young people are neither terrible people who aren't going to achieve anything, and the majority of people aren't necessarily going to achieve the great wonders. If we look at the talk that we've just heard, I think that kind of it reflects in that the majority of us aren't going to be millionaires and aren't going to go on and achieve beyond our wildest dreams. So I'm kind of talking about the grey area here. I'm talking about an authenticity, a real life that I think the majority of young people fall into. Now, when I was doing my research, one of my friends said to me, "Jenny, you want to look at young people doing TV? Isn't that just YouTube?" And I said, no, I don't think that is just YouTube. Now, I don't want to talk about user-generated content too much, other than to say that it is a great way for young people to express themselves. It's a great way for them to get their ideas heard by a wider audience. But I don't think many people have turned user-generated content into commercial models of entertainment that are used in broadcast. And that's more what I'm interested in. So perhaps young people, rather than doing it themselves on YouTube, need a little bit of help to get the ideas out. Maybe they're not quite ready to contribute on their own, though some maybe are. When I was doing my research, I spoke to a lot of people in TV, and they had a very clear idea that young people didn't have the skills they had because they'd been training and working for years to know how to do what they did, and that young people couldn't possibly do that. So I grant you, maybe young people would need some help if they were to get involved in co-creating TV content. So we've got young people being helped if they were to do this. And this is where I come back to youth theatre. because I think youth theatre can teach us a lot here. The sector has been developing for decades. It's nothing new. It's been going on for ages and ages and ages. There was theatre in education, which was a kind of post-war initiative, and more recently there are participative theatre practice going on across the country in the UK, both run by theatre companies and education departments in theatres, which, in terms of offering things that benefit young people and give young people, more importantly, the opportunities to tell their stories, to communicate what it's like to be young, I think youth theatre is a forum that does it really, really effectively. So if that's youth theatre, what do TV do and how do they engage with young people? Well, they do it, and I'd be completely inaccurate if I were to suggest that the broadcast sector didn't listen and didn't engage with young people, because they do. But from my research, what I learned was that actually, on the whole, they use very traditional research models to guide their engagement. So instead of it being a co-creative, kind of creative process where young people can get completely involved and empowered to do what they want to do, it's about representative samples and focus groups and other forms of qualitative research that they know and understand and can use within their process of creativity. So as we're on creativity, and essentially what I'm talking about is creating something, I'm going to present to you the diamond. The diamond isn't mine, the diamond's been used by loads of people before, but it is a really good example of what I would say the creative process does. So we start off with a small point at the top. That's a small idea that might turn into something bigger. Then we do loads and loads of research, and we generate loads more ideas, and we go and get stuff, and we look at it, and we read stuff, and we generate things around what it is we're trying to say and do. And then we have to refine them again to take them back into a focused idea that is either sellable, I guess, as a script, or performable as a script, or sellable as an idea, as a pitch, as a concept. So if that's the creative process, let's look at how TV engage young people in the creative process. Now, again, this is from my research, and I found when talking to people who worked in TV that these were the two places, mainly, that young people were engaged. So right at the beginning, TV producers might do focus groups and might have days with young people where they'd say, we're thinking about doing a programme about this, we're thinking about doing one about this, or what would you like to see a programme of? And a group of young people might give them all their ideas and say, oh, have you thought about this? Have you thought about that? Oh, no, we don't want to see another programme on this. That's right at the beginning. Then the young people go away, might get an incentive, might not, 20 quid in the back pocket. And the TV producers and the researchers will then take on all the fun stuff in the middle, all that, the bit where you go and you have the ideas and you work out, is there scope for this? Is it going to work? Is it not going to work? Are we going anywhere? Let's get loads of info. And they do that on their own. And then they whittle it down to an even better idea, to the pitch, to the concept, all on their own. And then right at the end, just before they go to the commissioners and they say, can we have some cash to make this programme, they'll go back to the young people and check that they've done all right by what the young people originally said they were going to do, just because it would, wouldn't be sensible not to. So that's kind of what I found out about TV. And if we compare that to theatre, or youth theatre specifically, youth theatre, it might actually start by youth arts leaders or youth theatre leaders coming together and saying, where are we going to start this year? Often youth theatre projects are annual, they run over the summer holidays. So at the beginning of the summer holidays, or maybe around Easter, some youth kind of leaders in this sense will come together and say, what are we going to create? What's the starting point? And they might come up with the starting point and give that over to the young people. The young people then do all the stuff in the middle. They say, this is how it relates to me. They say, we need to tell this story. And they look at how that then whittles down to the idea. In theatre, it's often a script. So the young people then be involved in writing the majority of the script. It's sometimes then taken off at the last minute and kind of refined to performance level. But by and large, everything in the script has been written by a young person. So as you can see, two kind of big contrasting approaches to developing content. And how do these kind of two different approaches work? Or maybe where does my idea fit within them? So youth theatre, I would say, it's social. It's not about making money. It's about offering an opportunity. It's about offering an experience. And it's about young people like me, when I did youth theatre, having a great time and really enjoying themselves. And compare that to broadcast, which by and large is driven by revenue. It's driven by a desire to get advertising funding in. Obviously, creative integrity is hugely important to people who work in this sector, but so is making money at the end of the day. And what I'm proposing is that I think if you married a little bit of both of them in the middle, which is where my idea sits, that you could come out with some really, really interesting content. I think people are doing this. It's not that it hasn't happened. There are examples of authentic content that's been created, that's been commercially successful, and that has been heralded as having contributions from young people. So Skins in the UK, or a South African program called Yizo Yizo, were the two that really stood out to me when I was doing all my background research. And there are probably others that I didn't find. So people are doing it. But in TV, nobody likes to talk about it. Because unlike theatre, where people go, oh, you had this idea. Yeah, I had this idea. Maybe we could share them. OK. They know there's a commercial kind of line to it. And if they don't want to share their ideas, because it's working really well for them, and they don't want Bob around the corner to be making more money than they are, because they've sold them or told them they're a really good idea. So perhaps if you mix them, you might have some good ideas. And if I bring this back to the grey area, my whole point really is that if we were to merge the two, I think we might get content that was more representative and that maybe didn't portray young people as either saints or sinners. So, in conclusion, I think we should do some experimenting. I want to go away and develop a TV programme using forum theatre, which is a method of theatre used where often workers and bosses and managers have been brought together, and the theatre is used as the format for them to resolve their differences. Why don't we make a TV programme about how young people are perceived using forum theatre? Why don't we use Noel Gregg's immersive model, where young people literally do from the start to the finish of the process and make amazing pieces of theatre that are celebrated the world over? So let's give it a try. I think there's potential, and I think it's about time that the TV broadcast sector started to see it as well. Thank you.